We finally live, man. We finally live. I'm excited to be on here tonight. Slow feet don't eat. You know the vibes, man. I got my brother with me tonight. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have one of those like philosophical talks tonight, man. I know the energy, I know the vibes. This guy, man, straight out of Cali. Let me get some water, man. It's been a beautiful day. Straight out of Cali. This conversation is going to be dope because there's always this conversation about virtual wholesaling. And I hear people talk about virtual wholesaling, and that's wholesaling somewhere that you don't live. I hear people talk about it almost as if it's not wholesaling, like it's some whole different, completely, other business. And tonight we're going to debunk that. Tonight we're going to talk about how this guy has used the hands-off process to literally do deals all over the U.S. He's done deals with other students. He's doing deals in my backyard here in Richmond, VA. I know the U fam is in here heavy. If you're in the U family, you're in the building. All right, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. All right, let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're here. But it's going to be a fun conversation. I'm excited to have Daylan here. Daylan West. You know when somebody got the last name West, that's like one of those like Cornell West, David West. Like this one of those like they just got it. Like they just popping. They just got it. So let's get Daylan up here. Daylan, what's good? What's good?
What's going on, Coach? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, bro. Feeling great. Yourself?
I'm feeling great as well, man. Feeling blessed on purpose. So I'm glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Look, it's good to have you here, man. We got you family here. We got non-you family here. People are going to start getting into the building. And I'm excited to talk with you, man, because your journey's just been dope, right? You've been a part of the community for how many years now?
Since 2020, I got in on that Black Friday sale.
Oh,
yeah,
man. Oh, man. All right. I didn't know you was one of them. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the U from 2020 Black Friday. The last time, Daylan, that's the last time I've done a Black Friday sale. It was 2020. All right. So it's good to have you here, man. Your progress over the last few years, man, it's just been dope to watch, from afar. So I'm excited to have you here for this convo tonight, just to talk about what the experience has been like for you, how you went about doing these things. I want to hear about what you're working on. You got a journal that you're putting out. I want to know about all these things, man. So let's jump into it. Who is Daylan West, man? Who was Daylan West before wholesaling, man? Because I feel like you've gone through some transformations. Like who are you, man?
Okay. Well, I guess we do some backstory. So I'm Daylan West, 28 years old, from Oakland, California. Before wholesaling, I was trying to find my way. I was working at UPS as a package handler, pretty much just throwing boxes around, putting them in crates. Yeah, real labor work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get a conveyor belt, come down with boxes, we throwing them in, packaging them in, and I just knew that wasn't for me. I didn't know what was. I struggled in school, at least in the back end of high school, and didn't get into any colleges. I went the JC City College route. Wasn't really taking it serious, was complacent, ended up going to two different schools and dropping out. And I just ended up going straight into the work field and like trying to find my way, like I said. And so that's how I ended up working at UPS, but I knew I wanted to do something in terms of entrepreneurship. I didn't know what. There's so many different avenues to go into. I was just searching the web, trying to find something. I was listening to a lot of success stories while I was working at UPS and just trying to figure out what path was it for me. I remember listening to a podcast interview with Mark Whitten on the Breakfast Club.
Hey, shout out to Mark Whitten, man. That's my guy, man. Yeah. That's way back, too. That's way back.
I think 2018, maybe.
Yeah, that's way back. That's pre-COVID days, man.
Yeah, definitely pre-COVID. But he planted a seed. I was like, he talked about wholesaling. He talked about being able to get a list, call it, and be able to, facilitate a deal and make up to $10,000 a deal without having your license, without, going through certifications and all that stuff. Just if you had time and energy, you could pretty much get into it. And at the time, I heard of it. you know, I thought about it and I was like, man, that sounds a little too good to be true, you know, so I didn't really pursue it. But again, it just planted a seed, and I'm so grateful that I saw that, because come full circle, a year or two later, I ended up going to the seminar by Than Mural, Fortune Builders, and it was a 3-day seminar, the most boring, methodical, meticulous like seminar you could ever go to, that is cramming 3 days of real estate in your brain, just trying to upsell you. I didn't even know what upsell meant at the time, but I definitely got upsold. You know what I mean?
They got that heavy upsell over there.
Oh
too.
My goodness. Yeah, they get you in. Actually, I went to a day for free, and they were like, if you come to the 3-day seminar, it's only $200 today, but if you don't get it today, it'll be $400 to $500 the next time you try to get it. And so me and my buddy split it 100, and we got in there. He didn't even end up coming with me, but I ended up going because I was like, I need to figure this thing out. And so I went to that seminar. Like I said, 3 days of just cramming information. But the last day, guess what they talked about? The last day, last slide.
What they talked about, man?
They brought up wholesaling.
Man, so they were talking fix and flip the whole time.
The whole time.
They talk about the heavy duty work, Daylan, because you know a lot of people, man, they think they want to do fix and flips. They think that's the entryway into real estate and how you can make a lot of money doing this thing. So the last day they bring up wholesaling. You hear what is wholesaling for people who don't know? Because I think we got a lot of people here maybe tonight that may not know what wholesaling is. So describe that, and then talk to me about what happened on that last day when you heard about it.
Okay, so I just put it in the simplest terms. If someone hasn't heard of it before, it's just finding a homeowner who's looking to sell their property off market. Doesn't want to go through the traditional sale of a real estate agent or anything like that. And so you help them find an end buyer, which is also an investor, a cash buyer. You have the assignable rights to a contract, and you assign the rights to the end buyer, and you make a fee in the middle. And so that's what they talked about on that last day. And I immediately, the seed that was planted from Mark Whitten 2 or 3 years before, I was like, okay, I need to jump on this, because I heard it again and my spirit felt it. It was like, okay, I need to get in on this. And so I ended up, like I said, getting upsold. They had a $30,000 program. Obviously couldn't do that. So they had a lower tier, which was $3,000, which I also didn't have. But they said, you could get in by, using credit if you have a good credit score.
That back of the room talk.
That's exactly what that was. Yeah, one-on-one time. And so they gave me a one-on-one, and they said, hey, if you got a good credit, you can just get these 3 cards. You could pay for it, and it'll pay for itself pretty much. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm committed. I want to do this. I don't like where I'm at. I want to change in my life. Let me just go ahead and jump in it. And I maxed out 3 cards right then and there to get into that $3,000. It was, I don't even know what it was. It was really more so of listening to a course. There was a person who would speak, but you couldn't talk to them. You just could chat with them. It wasn't like how we have real interactions in the U. And so I did that, but I wouldn't say I learned much from it, but I just learned to bet on myself, that I was willing to put in on this, because I'm not a spontaneous person like that. I make logical decisions and more calculated, but I decided that, I really want to prove to myself that this is something I want to do. So I went ahead and did that, and got into that course. But that kind of got me the ball rolling. I ended up, just kind of learning more, going down the YouTube University route, finding people such as yourself, Paige Morby, Max Maxwell, and all those type of people, just learning more about the ins and outs of wholesaling. And so in 2019, crazy, I was doing on Deal the Machine, and I sent out some postcards to this guy, and I'll never forget, because he called me, and I was in Vegas for my 26th birthday, and I was definitely not sober, but
it was turned up.
I was turned up for sure. But he called me, he was like, hey, you sent me a postcard. I'm like, oh dang, it worked. And he was like, but you forgot to take a picture of the house and put it on there. I was like, what?
Oh, you was doing that old school card with the picture of the house on it. I've sent that card before. That was I'm with you.
but I forgot to like actually take the real picture and put it on there. So he was like giving me game. He was like, hey, when you do this, you want to put the picture on there, you want to have it presentable. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, I like, that you're doing this. I have a call center here in the Bay Area. If you want to come down, I got Mojo, I got the list. You could come bust some calls out in the call center. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, you can get about 15 to 20% on the deal. You get $125 per appointment and just get in, and for free.
He was a wholesaler.
Yeah.
So you hear this. We kind of got a similar story at the moment, right? Because I started out in a call center for another wholesaler at the time. All right. So he proposes this to you. I gotta think you thought the same thing I did in that moment when it happened to me. I thought I caught a lick, man. I thought I was about to. I thought I had my foot in the door. I was about to turn it up, man. I mean, is that kind of where you were at too?
Most definitely. Yeah, I thought it was it. I thought this was the big win. And granted, it was in a way. It just got me into the space. I got around other people who were making calls. I got around him who was established wholesale investor. So I learned a lot from them. However, we just had different sets of ethics. They went about business a way that I didn't agree with. And so I ended up stepping out from there. But it was good learning experience for sure to get into that space. And so from there, I ended up kind of going my own route in 2020. Actually, at the beginning of the pandemic, I ended up leaving my job UPS to go full time into it. I know the pandemic was obviously a horrible time for a lot of people. People lost a lot of people lost lives, a lot of economic hardships and things like that. But for me, it felt like my escape plan, my escape route. You know what I mean? Because it was a way for me to get out of my job and, use that as a way to, get out of there. And so I used that to step full time into entrepreneurship in April 2020. And so after that, I connected with a realtor here in Oakland. I ended up sending him deals. He, had a webinar and he was like, hey, I want to, give back. I'm a realtor here, but I'll work with investors as well. And, I'm all about the community. I'm all about giving back. He was a young Black realtor here as well. And I ended up connecting with him, sending him leads. And we ended up doing a deal together maybe 6 months later. And so that actually allowed me to use that money to get into the U. I was, going to stay out in the Bay. And I was like, man, it got to be an easier way. And so, I ended up seeing you had the course talking about, virtual wholesaling and getting into that. And actually, I skipped the part where I met another guy out here who had boots on the ground in Virginia. And so before I had got into the U, I was working with him. And so
is that the VA Connect for you? Is that why you had kind of Richmond and Virginia on your sites?
Yeah.
Once you got into the U, and that was kind of one of the markets you really super locked in on, right? So had you done a deal yet when you got to the U, or where were you at?
So I did one deal here in Oakland before.
All right. So you had done a deal in Cali, but you were like a lot of people, it sounds like they get into this, and there's sometimes people they have like what I call like that moderate success, right? Where they do a deal, or it's like that journeyman, right? Where they do a deal here, they do a deal there, that type of thing. So, talk about your experience coming into the U, right? You came into the U in 2020. Here's the $1 million question I get all the time. All right. How long does it take you to do your first deal? My response is always, look, it's up to you. Every individual is different. It's up to your ethic, what you're going to do, not do. What was talk about your journey to your first deal, right? Like, what did you go through to kind of get to that point?
It's crazy. Getting into your group, obviously I saw you as a mentor, as a coach, but the key thing, or the driving factor for me, what I saw was like you're an active buyer in a market that I'm interested in. And so I'm like, oh, I can tap in with a buyer who's really out here and doing his thing and willing to work with us, the students as well. And so we ended up, my first deal in the group was with you. The first couple of deals was
Facts. Dang, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if you remember, you closed one of my deals on a call live.
I remember that now. Yeah.
So that was like super confirmation that okay, this is for me. Not only is this for me, like this group is for me, like that rarely happens, and that happened like live on the call, and so I stayed with it, and got it from
Yeah,
there.
what was
But
what was that dude's name, man?
it was like
It was
Ian or something.
yeah,
Is it
Ian. That's his
Ian?
name. That's his name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That call
Yep.
is still in the vault right now.
Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah, because we were all on. I remember this. We were all on the call. We were on a Monday night coaching call. And I felt like doing some calls, man. You know what I mean? I was just in my, you know how I am, Dan. So I get my bet. All right.
Right.
So I'm making some calls. I catch Ian, and if I remember right, he was like objecting the whole call, didn't want to sell. And then I was able to get him to sell us the deal. I can't remember how much we made, but I remember that being a pretty solid deal. I want to say it was like 10, 15,000, something like that.
Yeah,
I
something
can't
like that.
remember, but it was
Yeah.
a solid deal for sure. So that was your first deal into you.
Yeah, I think that was probably at least like 6 months after I had joined, something like
That's
that.
crazy. All right, so you're in the group for a few months. You and I end up doing your first deal together in the group, right? And you're one of the people, I talk about the hands-off method a lot now, right? You were one of the people that was really pivotal in me really kind of landing the plane on this thought of hands-off wholesaling, right? Like you were doing it before I was calling it hands-off wholesaling. So like, how did you gain that understanding, right? You had the relationship here in Virginia, but how did you gain the understanding of, hey, this is how I want to do business? And here's why I asked you this, Daylan. I think a lot of people operate from this perspective that they have to do business where they live, right? They have to do business where they're located. They have to do business where they're familiar. You did the complete opposite, right? You did business where you had resources and trust. So what was that experience like? Like, how did you navigate doing business from Cali to Virginia? And you hadn't been to Virginia, right?
Nope. Yeah,
Have you
never
been to
stepped
Virginia
foot.
yet?
I think I passed through there, went through DC, but never really, settled down in there or really stayed there for long. But I think for me, it was one realizing that I don't need to do the whole thing, the whole process of the deal, and to leverage relationships. There's like two key components to it: is lead generation and lead conversion. I mean, obviously there's things in between that, title and follow up and stuff like that. But if you can get a lead, a motivated seller, and you can get someone who can close it, that's it. And you can split 50-50. Like that's 1 + 1 is gonna be equal 2. And so I just simply knew that I could be great at one part of that, which is lead conversion, across different markets. I found the people who were converting in their markets, hit them up, built a relationship, and said, hey, if I find leads in this area, we'd be willing to split them with me. And they all said yes. And so I just started doing that.
Let's stay there for a second. This is good. This is important, right? Because this is pre hands off. All right. But you're in the group. You're on every coaching call that I'm doing. You asking me questions on every call. Like you're showing up, right? And this is what I hear you saying, right? You realize like, oh, wait, like my superpower is focusing on lead generation, creating the opportunity. Because see, a lot of people, they get stuck, Daylan, and feeling like they got to try to do the entire process.
Right.
You're saying you realize like, hey, I'm just going to focus on creating the opportunity. You create the opportunity, and then you identified other people inside the you that were in different places. And then you handed the deals off to them, the leads that you generated, you handed the lead off to them, let them do the rest of the work, and they paid you 50% of the profit, just like how you and I did the deal.
Yep, that's it.
So how did you find the people inside the you? Because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the you. So how did you find the people in the you? Because I think this would help, right? Like, how did you know who you wanted to work with? Like, what characteristics did you see? Because you're an observant guy, man. Like, how did you figure that out?
I think success leaves clues, and you can see who's leading the trail and having success in the group, who's posting deals, who's posting wins, who's really building, who's active. One of the people who a former member of the group, Jeff, was someone who I singled out for sure, and he helped me hands-on for sure. I even got on a call with him, a closing call, and listened to it, his call as offer delivery, And so that let me know, okay, that's what an offer is supposed to sound like. I'm not there yet. I need to do some work, but I can just feed him leads and have him close deals for me and go from there. It's the same with you. And so it's just like seeing, the ability or other people who have the ability to close and finding them people who are active is just like building relationships with them was, the key to making it work. So
no doubt. So you're finding people in the group who are actively participating on the coaching calls, that are talking about the work that they're currently putting in the process, right? That are showing up on things like the cold call role play, or whatever the case might be. But what does that conversation look like when you reach out to that person that becomes a hands-off partner? Like, what kind of conversation do you reach out and say when you hit up a Jeff, or you hit up? Well, I want to talk about your relationship with Robert too, because y'all done launched some rockets in the last 24 months. So I want to get to that. But what in the approach, what are you even saying to somebody when you reach out?
I think even before the approach, it's you being active and you putting in the work. And so they see that you're somebody that is actually doing something. You know what I mean? These people have jobs and lives, and they don't have time to just, be playing and talking to anybody. I think before I even was willing to step into any of those people, I was making sure I was present. I was on the cold call role plays. I was making calls. I was making sure that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing and creating lead opportunities. So it's like being someone of value so you can add value before you just go out and just, say, hey, can you help me? You know what I mean? It's like you always get that analogy of someone who's just have their thumb up, who needs help with their car versus somebody who's pushing, and you see them sweating and stressing out. Like, you gonna help that person.
I've been using that analogy with the youth since the rip, right? It's like nobody, if you're broke down on the side of the road and you sitting in the car, you got the dome light on, man, I don't know what you got going on, man. You making a phone call, maybe you changing a I don't know what you got. I don't think you need any help. But the person that's outside the car pushing the car by themselves, like, I'm a real one. You're like, I'm gonna stop. Like, I'm stopping to see what I can do to help 110%, man. And so I love that that's how you found and identified people inside of our community that you could really, build a relationship with and work with. So you're creating leads, you're handing them off to people that can then take them and execute on them, do the majority of the work, right?
Right.
You're making 50% of the profit. At what point in that strategy for you, because this is at a time where I didn't talk that much about this strategy, right? Like, this is really a part of the beginning of this all. When was the point where you were like, all right, well, hold up, like, this kind of rocking for me, kind of crazy right now. Like, I'm on to something with this. Like, what was that moment like?
It's crazy you asked that, because that moment happened, but my lowest moment happened right after that.
Talk about it. Yeah.
So, there was a point, I think it was December 2022, where I had deals in under contract in escrow in multiple different markets in Virginia. I had some rocked up in Little Rock. I had one out here. I think it was 5 total that I had locked up, ready to go. And I'm like, damn, I didn't figure it out. Like, this is my moment. This finally happened. I was been in the year.
This is because, Daylan, we all had that moment, like, right before, like, when you getting enough motion and you like, okay, like this is my life is changing right now.
Yes, I felt it. I was like, this got to be it. Like, to the point where I'm like, all right, I got to figure out what I'm about to do with this bag that's about to come in. I'm not going to, splendor it, but I'm, going to give me something nice for sure. But
absolutely,
I definitely started to use it for marketing. I pretty much bought my systems and kind of counted the chickens before they hatched. Because every single one of those 5 deals I talked about fell through, one after another. And so
just for whatever reason.
Yeah, property issues, title issues, buyer backing out, like, just all of them, one after another. And
so how did you mentally, when I observe you, right? Like, you've been around for a long time inside the U. I see you as a man of wisdom. Like, I see you with a strong mental. But I know from personal experience, like I know that moment where it's like right before the takeoff, like it's like mission control, like, hey, we ready for liftoff. Y'all flipping the switches. It's like, yeah, we about to, as soon as these hit, we going crazy, right? So when that doesn't work, it has a level of mental impact to somebody that some people don't recover from. So what was that experience like mentally for you, and how did you work past it?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to, if I didn't consider something else, like going into a
Right,
new
that's real.
venture. You know, I ended up, I looked at a couple different entrepreneur aspects. I looked at some job opportunities, but something told me, you know, I had to talk with myself like, nah, this is something you committed to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Before you even got into this, I always ask myself before I get into a new venture, like, are you interested in this? Are you committed? You know, if you're interested, you'll do it as long as you're interested. But if you're committed, you're gonna do it regardless if you're interested or not. And I told myself, man, I committed to this. I put money into this. I told people I was getting into this. Like, I can't, you know,
Can't go back.
now. I can't go back now. I can't go back to UPS. You know,
Word.
back to
Yeah, I
my
used to load them
coworkers.
trucks, man. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way.
Man, my coworker's still there, but
Facts.
no way. And so I look back and I studied my success, like I said before, and I was like, what was working for me, you know, up to that point, and
Yeah.
it was all pretty much that's when SMS was going crazy, when you know first got onto the Draco. That's when that
Hey,
first,
Daylan, because this is, listen, we had the Draco, then we got atomic missiles loading up right now. But listen,
yeah.
when the Draco came out,
Whew.
I came to y'all because you know how I show up for y'all. I came to the U and I said, hey, I said, if you ever wanted your life to change, the Draco, you listen,
Crazy.
this is the one you could go crazy with. So you strap in, you launch out with the Draco because you coming off the L of these 5.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
like how did you go through that recovery spot? Like how did you make that shakeout?
It was tough, man. It's like holding sand, and my business was sand, and I just saw it slipping through my fingers. Like I lost my dialer. I'm losing, you know, just different systems left and right. I was left with just Podio and Marketing Plex because I was like, okay, what do I really need? I need to house my leads, and I need to be able to reach out to them. Everything else, I'll get it, you know, on the back end. And so, you know, I really focused on Marketplace. I watched every video. You know, they had Sunday videos. I'm watching them all. I'm like, I gotta get this figured out. And so I ended up, you know, really working to automate it, to get it to generate leads for me to go through the process and qualify them. And I'm not that type of person. I'm not an integrator. I'm not, you know, tech savvy. That's not my skill set. I'm more people person. I'm more, you know, I mean, just get out and talk to people. But I was like, you know what, I need to figure this out. And so I really honed in on it, got it to really produce leads at a high level and use that to generate my, you know, my next lead. You know, and it's crazy. Like in that moment, as my business was falling and failing, I had got a deal, when I say in March, and it didn't close until about August. And in that time period, like I had to choose between paying for marketing or like paying my phone bill, because I didn't have it.
Man.
And so I ended up paying marketing, and my phone bill, like I could only text on Wi-Fi. So
Oh, hey
I had
Daylan.
one of those,
Daylan,
man.
I know the vibes, man. I know the vibes, man. You gotta tell your people, listen, hit me as soon as I get a signal, bro. I'm gonna get with you. I'm gonna get with you.
I try not to tell people, but they can see, you know, it shows your email
Yeah,
instead of
bro. I
your
already know,
number.
man. I
Oh
already
my
know, man.
goodness. So going through that, I didn't have a phone for those 3 months in between, and it was a humbling experience. But I was like, I know it's gonna pay off. I know this is gonna be for me. And so that deal ended up closing in August, and it was, I'll never forget, it was a $10,000 deal, and I'm sitting in Bank of America. My phone didn't work because their Wi-Fi was bad. I had to wait 2 hours because they didn't have their to get on the wait list. It was like a week or two, so they only had walk-ins. And I was like, all right,
Oh, because this is COVID. Yeah,
COVID,
yeah, yeah,
the middle
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. You
COVID.
couldn't just walk into the bank. You had to have the appointment.
Oh
And
man,
you got 10 racks in your hand.
but my
You ain't even got
no
a phone.
phone.
Yeah, oh, man.
Crazy, man, for 2 hours. And I remember this, it was like 2 hours. I got to talk to myself, talk to God, and really recognize this is what it's like to really have faith and stick something out. You know what I mean? Like what I was thinking, like, what was I worried about? Like it all worked out. I had, about $4,000 of debt because I was using my card. The business I needed probably I don't know how much was for my monthly, but that was all covered through the 10,000. I immediately went next door and got a new phone, new phone, and cut my phone back on. And crazy, my phone was disabled for so long that they took away my number that I had my whole life. So I had to get a new number. But crazy, Chris, it felt like I was getting reintroducing myself to people. Like it was like, all right, if you got this number, you know the real me now. Like this is the me
That's
on
real.
the other side of the
Everybody
hill.
on got it. Because
Everybody
that's deep though. Hold on. That's deep. Because you had really kind of transitioned, really.
For sure.
Right? Like you had got to that because there's this tunnel that we get into. And like that light starts really small. So I mean, in the beginning, you can't see it at all. Right. There's people on here, right? There's people on here that register for my class on Thursday. There's people on here that are into you already. And there's people that light doesn't exist for them right now. Right. They're in the tunnel, they're staring through it, and there's just nothing at the end. They're just going in the darkness. And eventually, if you just keep going long enough, you start to see a little glimmer, and then that light just continues to get brighter and brighter. So you get to the other side of this, you get to that bright light, and you like, yo, I'm just leaving it behind, man. I'm not even carrying any of this with me. I'm gonna take this as a blessing. That this is the new me. This is the new version of me. So how did you start moving from there? Right? Like, did you double down on this strategy? Like, what did you do after that?
So yeah, definitely double down on what was working. I just bought a bunch of leads, started sending them through there. Still building relationships and connecting. That's how I ended up connecting with Robert, who was in Richmond. Shout out to Robert, man.
That's you, man.
Yeah.
Man.
So we ended up doing a deal probably 2 months after that. I think we did a couple deals, and we were like, man, we work well together. He's in the market I was in. I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and kind of put this together. And so we actually joined partnership in the end of 2022, or actually the beginning of 2023, after we had knocked out a couple of deals together and started to just put it all together and double down. That's when we started to really run the agent buyer play. And
let's talk about that.
Whew.
I know, because y'all listen, man. This is one thing I know for certain. Y'all boys been going crazy. All right, y'all boys been going crazy. All right, so you guys come up with a play, right? And you just did a call with the family this past Friday. I appreciate you for that. All right, where you were talking to everybody else in the U about this process, breaking it down, walking everybody through it, sharing your screen, showing them how you go about doing this. What is this play for you, and how did it come about, and what has it done for your business?
Man, so pretty much is connecting with agents who have buyer relationships, got an investor list. And sometimes the agents are investors themselves. Actually, for us, all of our agents are active investors as well. And so you get the ability to utilize their connections, networks, and resources, as well as them as an agent. And so you get the best of both worlds. It's like I had so much, typically you put your deal on Facebook, you get a cash buyer who's trying to nickel and dime you all the way, get the craziest deal. Or you might even run into a wholesaler who's trying to, go ahead and daisy chain it. But it's rare you get someone who's going to post it to their group, to their network. Mm-hmm. And that's like the tentacles of the agent. And so, I was able to see that as a fruitful opportunity. I called agents before I even had a deal. And so crazy, I had just looked at when I had first connected with the agent that I'm referencing. It was probably 6 to 9 months before we even did business. And so I just had them on my buyers list. But
just chopping it up.
Yeah, just to let them know, hey, I'm still active, this and that. And so once I actually had a deal, they jumped on it. And so they sent it out to their buyers. They were able to close quickly. They were like, this is what we do, and we've been kind of running that same play with multiple agents ever since. Just sending it to them. They'll either buy it themselves or send it to their network, and it's actually to the point where we can send them deals before they even lock it up. Before we lock it up.
It's just solid relationships.
Absolutely. They tell us the numbers like, hey, this is what we'll buy it at for this. This is what we'll buy it at for that, and jumping on it.
Man,
so
I remember in the U, from the rip, telling y'all like, yo, I've said it the whole way. I'm like, yo, my best buyers come through agents, man. Not going direct to buyer, right? Like the best buyers I got, biggest profits I get are all direct through agents. So I love to hear that, because I love to hear I love to hear the implementation. I love to hear how you built relationships with people inside of the U. You're a highly respected member in the U. People look to you for advice. People look to you for support. All these different things, man. So we appreciate everything that you do for the community, how you big everybody up, how you support people. Talking about Robert, shout out to Robert Matthews. He's in the building supporting. Shout out to my guy, Robert, man. So you and Robert hook up. He's here in Richmond. And beginning of 2023, y'all just go on a tear, right? Like y'all just go on a run. What was that like, being in it? And what I mean, we're 2024 now, it's top of the year. In reflection, because I know you're a person that reflects, right? We're gonna talk about the journal, right? In reflection, how do you look back at how much you've grown, how much you and Robert have accomplished together in 2023? Because I know 2024 is gonna be huge for y'all.
Man, I feel like it was a roller coaster. As much as the business was flourishing, it's still life is happening, on the other side. But we still found a way to like push past everything, every obstacle and hurdle that came towards us on the other side. But to speak to our success, it was just like putting the pieces together. We saw what was working. We created a great dynamic between us, splitting different ends of the business. He's doing one end, I'm doing one end. It's creating that dynamic duo. And so it just worked. And then adding the play with the agent buyer. So we're getting our deals out early, done quickly and efficiently. And so it just worked so naturally. And it felt like, me and Robert had already knew each other beforehand. So, it was just a great connection. And then once the business started, we started to find a play that worked. We just kept on running.
Just went crazy. Yeah, so let me ask you, if you don't mind. All right. Shout out to the Bay. All right. I know the Bay may be in the building, but how much money did you and Robert cut up last year? And you've never been to Virginia. You've never been to Richmond, Virginia. Y'all done all these deals. How much money did you and Robert approx? All right. How much did y'all make last year doing these deals together, man?
So we closed 2023. I think it was 125. So yeah, it was definitely a good year. And we really didn't even start at the top. We started late February together. So it's really a 11-month. I think this will be our 12th month.
So y'all just went on an 11th month run, right. Ran up 6 figures. Like when you reflected on that coming into this year, let's talk about that. Like, what did that feel like?
Man, it felt like perfect timing. It felt like it was meant to be. I really thought that my time, I felt like I was getting punished. Like it was taking too long. You always want the things to happen quicker. You want the success. You want your work to pay off quicker than later.
Always.
But I read this post that said that the delay wasn't punishment; it's preparation. And I felt like I was really prepped for that moment. Like, okay, when the ball is in my hands, I'm gonna do something with it. I'm
getting a bucket. I see the picture on the wall behind you, bro.
Yeah, that Mamba mentality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
You're not gonna get the ball if you don't know what to do with it. If you
Right.
do, you're not gonna perform. So once we got the ball, man, it was just like, all right, it's time to turn up. So it felt like all that work going through the ups and downs, those 5 deals falling out, just trying to find my way the past years. It was all coming to fruition. And so we put it together. Robert as well has been in the business for a while as well, and trying to figure it out and find the footing. And we both found it together, and we've just been rocking ever since. So yeah, we're just going to continue to run the same play.
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. A question for you, man, is and I know there's people on here right now. I see shout out to Crystal in the chat. I see you who's like, look, I'm confused. I don't know how to do this. Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, go to startflippingdeals.com. You may already be signed up for it. I'm hosting a class where I'm going to be breaking down this exact process that Daylan implemented, made a bunch of money from, and tons of other people as well. I'm going to break it down Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, there's nothing for sale on the class. I'm going to literally be breaking this down for y'all step by step. All right, so you want to make sure that you're registered. You want to make sure that you're there. We're going crazy on Thursday day. I'm going to be dropping some heat. We're going to be talking about AI automation, how I'm using that now in our business to make a ton of money, how you can do this with your W-2, literally from work, working from home, whatever. All right, we're going to break that down Thursday. So if you're confused, want to learn and understand how to do this, make sure that you're there on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So Daylan, this hands-off process that you guys have really kind of, hammered in on, right? I see how you really gravitated to that from the beginning, right? Like you said, the first deal you did, you handed it off to me live on a coaching call, right? So my question for you is, I think some people come in and like, we give them the play. We're like, hey, look, if you want to do the whole deal, you can. But look, the easiest, the fastest, quickest way to get, opportunities created is really the hands-off process. I mean, what do you say to that? Why do you feel like some people are resistant to the ease of, all you got to do is find the opportunity, right? So market to the opportunity, find the opportunity, negotiate a deal, right? Hand it off to somebody else to do everything else. Why do you feel like people are so resistant to that? And they get so stuck on doing the entire deal themselves to try to, I guess, make 100% of the profit? Like, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to it. It doesn't make sense to me. It may be a sense of, wanting to do it all yourself and make it 100%. It may be trust issues. They're not willing to accept, help from someone else. It may be just a limiting belief. But I think it's something that maybe is not as publicized in the real estate industry. They don't talk about linking arms and doing the hands off and getting it together. Is a mentality of every man or woman for themselves. And so I think this is a new idea and concept for a lot of people. But like you said, it's like the easiest way to get from opportunity to something closing is to hand it off or work with somebody who's already doing it. And so I think that it's super beneficial to help, especially just starting off, to work with somebody who's already got their footing, who already had results, who's already had success, and just tag along and learn. It's not about the fact that you're going to stay there forever, but it's like getting and learning the process, steps A through Z, and then jumping on it yourself at some point when you feel comfortable, or you could just work with somebody. You know what I mean? So
it's just, you got to jump off the porch,
right? And it's a beginning. It's a beginning spot. It's not something you have to do forever if you don't want to, but it's just a way to get in the door, at least for me. So that's what I would say.
Nah, facts, man, facts. I love that. Because it's like, I'm teaching this class on Thursday, but I'm always trying to spread the message now of hands off wholesaling, because there's literally not a faster way to me to make this type of money. If you do the process correctly, and you can leverage other people to do the majority of the work for you. Because I know Robert's boots on the ground. I know Robert is going hard, making things happen, coordinating buyers, dealing with all those types of things.
Right.
And so it's like, look, man, like, get connected with somebody, build relationship. And that's the beautiful part about the U. You've been in the U 4 years now, right? since almost the beginning of this thing. Um, what do you say to members of the U, man, to find their path, find their success? What advice do you have?
I think first and foremost, you got to figure out what do you want from this, or why are you doing this? I mean, this is something that is really tested your faith,
Yeah,
and your commitment level. I think you kind of talked about it this morning on the morning call. It's like you love this because you can create opportunity more so than any other space, but it also requires you to really spend your energy and time in it like no other. And
yeah,
so, I think having that strong why component is extremely important for you to stick through the hard times, the ups and downs, the moments where it feels like, damn, I'm working hard, I'm doing everything, I'm making calls, I'm, making offers, but it's not happening for me. And you realize that it's part of the process. Or,
right,
deals fall through for you. Like every person who has had success in this group has had a deal fall through, multiple.
right,
You know what I mean? And then I think it's about fortifying your mind and your mindset to grasp like, what this is, but also having a long-term vision of seeing like what is the end of the road, so you can constantly go back to that. Okay, I got a 50 no's today, and I had an offer fall through, and I had a deal fall through, but this is gonna get me closer to my dream life that I want for myself. So I'm gonna do it again tomorrow. You know what I mean? Versus just I'm just doing this just to say I'm doing it.
right.
So I say building a strong vision for yourself of why this makes sense for you to do it. Because if not, you just as soon as it becomes inconvenient, as soon as it becomes hard, as soon as you see a way out, you're just gonna say, you know what, I don't want to do this.
You gonna take that out. Yeah, because
Exactly.
and that's what I was saying on our morning meetup call this morning, right? It's like, man, I love wholesaling, man. I really love wholesaling. I've done all types of real estate, built houses, flipped houses, owned a construction company, did new construct. I mean, all these different things, man. But I love wholesaling so much because it's like you can get whatever you put in. Like you can
Mm,
get out of it whatever you put into it. Like if you go hard with it, if you push hard with it, it's not about how much money you got. It's not about your background. It's not about experience that you got. Like if you press at it, it's gonna give you something back. But there's a mental toughness, right? That's required sometimes for people to be able to do that because we're always our own worst enemy. I know I'm certainly mine, right? We're all our own worst enemy. You've been really big. You've talked about it. I see you online. I see you talk about it inside the U as well. But you seem to have really gone deep in mindset and really just getting rooted in who you are, how you're approaching things. What has that journey been like for you, right? And how is that showing up for you in your business?
I think that was probably one of the biggest things when I started, talking about when I was working as a package handler. I changed my like information diet. Like instead of listening to music, because we can, listen to music or whatever while we're working, I said, let me listen to podcasts, let me listen to audiobooks, let me listen to success stories, let me get inspired. And I started heavily reading because that's what a lot of the people who had success said they did. I was like, all right, let me
Yeah,
do that. They listen to audiobooks, they listen to other podcasts as well. And so I transformed my thinking. It's like rewired my brain. I unlearned what I was doing before, bad habits I had. I was like, what, to get different, you have to be different. You have to become different. And so I went down this path of self-development, heavily, with the mindfulness as well, just being in stillness, meditating,
yeah,
just having the time to myself and reflecting. Like I said, the journaling, writing out my goals, my vision, what I see for myself, how I'm feeling, just what things I'm working on. Just got that ultimate clarity and vision for myself. And from there, it's easier to make decisions that are, for your long-term success, because now you're moving from a frame of reference of like who you really are versus just life, because I feel like in this world, life is kind of tells us who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to be, and all these different things. Not a lot of people get to really experience their true self or even
yeah,
comfortable or courageous enough to do it,
yeah,
so going through that process, I was like, all right, at this point, I know what I want in life. I know who I am. It's up to me to go get it, regardless of how
right,
uncomfortable it feels, regardless of what people may say, regardless of all the other, obstacles that may be in the way. This is what I want. you know, and so I just went after it. I trained my brain to push past the uncomfortableness. You know, like one of the things I do is I take cold showers consistently, and it
Yep.
just tells myself that, you know what, I make the decision. I never want to do it, but my mind is like, all right, well, this is what we're doing. Regardless of how it's gonna feel, regardless of whatever, it's just like turning into that person that's gonna do whatever they say they're gonna do and committing to it because you have that vision for yourself. And so, yeah, you know, going into that self development space was something that really helped me in business because this is gonna challenge you, like
Word.
all the way through and through. You're gonna have so many ups and downs. Just besides the money, it's like, you know, just within the business, it's just tough, you know. And so you have to really fortify your mind to withstand it, and push through. So yeah, I think that element is what allowed me to go through what I went through, the 5 deals falling out and going through all the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, was making sure I had a strong mental and you know, just having faith as well that it was all gonna work out. So
Nah, 100%, man. I appreciate that. Wise words, man. You a wise young man for real. I can say that now, Daylan. I'm 37. You feel me? I'm 37, so I can say that now, right?
you got me back up.
No doubt, man. You're a wise young man, bro. You've look, you've come out with a journal. I want you to tell us about that. I need one. I'm trying to get myself right. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to work on these same things you're talking about, right? So I need one. All right, I need one for sure. So look, you got the Addy. All right, shoot me one.
I
So
got
I can start to get right. We got to get these to the U family. All right, as well. You know, we support our own over here, 1,000%. What's the journal about? How did this come to be? And what's the goal?
So it came from, and I posted a reel about this. Like people were asking me, kind of what you talked about, is like, where did the self development, where did this mindset, where did you come from? Like, where did this all come from? But people who know me before the you and before all this, before who I am today, I was goofy. I was always the class clown, cracking jokes, you know, playing sports, but also, you know, getting at the girls and all that. Like that
I
was
already
me.
know, bro. Yeah, I already know, man.
Yeah, the people who know me before that, that's what they had see me as. And then I made the shift to like, you know, I want to get serious about my life and the trajectory. And so I started doing these things. I started journaling. I started to focus on, you know, how I talk to myself, positive self-talk and affirmations. I started to recognize the areas that I need to kind of really foster. It was confidence, self-limiting belief, you know, appreciation, gratitude, thinking I was living with lack, and just recognizing that I have, you know, everything I need, being reflective, you know, journaling, writing down my thoughts, and then, you know, doing the active work, also applying something as a strategy for it, doing breath work, doing the mindfulness, going on walks, being in nature, and those things, you know, praying as well, and just having a spiritual background as well, have all, you know, helped me in this journey. And so that all helped come about the book. I think you have it right here too. So
Yeah,
it's,
talk to us.
it's a day-to-day journal, but pretty much it has affirmations, but it has guided prompts or reflective questions to, you know, just get your mind rolling and about different topics, from health to, you know, gratitude to emotional intelligence to goal setting and different things like that help within not only just business but life in general. And so I think it's something that has helped me 100%. I'm a testament to the work. You know what I mean? I don't really have to sell it because it is who I am at this point. But I know it's something that people can, I hope people can utilize to, you know, be more self-aware, more self-reflective, and, you know, self-develop as well. And so that's pretty much the origin of the book. And, you know, I hope it, you know, it helps people become a better version of themselves as it has for me.
I love that, man. I love that, man. I want to talk about this, right? Because I want to sponsor some books for the fam. All right, I want us to get these books out to the family. So why don't you and I connect? Let's see what we can do to get these in the hands of some of the members and give them an opportunity to purchase as well. Maybe we can come up with some sort of contest, some sort of idea. All right, I'm gonna get a good amount out to the U family. All right. And but we got to make sure we got that link for them. Where can they get the book right now? Somebody wants it right this second. Where can they get it?
So it comes out February 1st. So next Thursday, I'm
All
gonna
right.
have it nice and ready for everybody. I would drop a link in the group, and I'll shoot you a link as well. But next Thursday is the official release date. It'll be available on my website and on Amazon. So you have it on multiple platforms to get it there.
Dope, man. Dope. Look, I'm gonna support you. The U family gonna support you. We want to see you continue to grow, continue to do your thing, man. It's been dope. Watching you come into the fam, figure this thing out, go through the ups and down swings, keep pressing through it. To be here, standing 4 years later, man. All the relationships you've built, people you've connected with. I appreciate your support personally. You've always bigged me up. I always see you, reposting me, doing different things, supporting the wave and the movement of what we're doing here. Not me, us, right? What we as a community here at the U are doing, man. And just we're passionately talking about real estate. We're passionately talking about how to get into real estate, how to get started, how to get bigger opportunities for ourselves, man. Because like I always say, man, your boss ain't gonna pay you enough to be their neighbor. We got to do that ourselves, man. So, any parting words, bro? Any parting words for everybody here? Because everybody's somewhere on their journey right now. Somebody's in that tunnel. Some people got light at the end. Some people got a glimmer. Some people, man, they just stuck in darkness at this very moment. How would you leave that, man? What would you say to them before we get out of here? And y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm not a YouTuber, Daylan, so whatever they tell y'all to do on YouTube, y'all do it. All right, y'all do it here. Share whatever y'all do on YouTube, y'all do it here.
Yeah.
But what would you say to those people, bro?
I would say, when you think of the U, and you think of, even this book, these are all creations that came from our minds, right? And in order for you to get to that next level, to create something, it's all going to start mentally. The vision you have for yourself, the life that you have for yourself, it has to be really, framed in your mind to see it and to live it out. And one of the things that I practice is starting with the end in mind, meaning, when it's all said and done, about to transition to that next life, and you look back over your life, what will you say is, how can you look back and say, I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I lived my dream life. What would that look like for you? What will you say? I did the thing that I feel like I was meant here to do. I touched the people I was meant to touch. I created what I was meant to create. What is that? And write it down and have it, available, and then work towards that, And so I think that's a way of thinking about it, because I think a lot of people feel stuck, like they don't have anything to offer. I think we're all made in the image of a creator, and it's up to us to create. If you say you're a believer and you have a spiritual backing, and you're made in that image, then what are you creating?
That's real.
If that's the case. And so I would say to really reflect on that, meditate, pray, do whatever you need to do, and look at, like, what do you really want out of this experience we have? Whether you're 28, whether you're 38, 58, 68, you still have breath. You have the ability to make a change today, right now. And see, you have to have a vision of what you want your life to look like. And it's up to you to make it work. And so it's a matter of changing your thinking and having a vision, and then working steps to get to it. And so I would say for someone to really look at how they see their life, the end in mind, and work towards it.
Hey, man, listen, a message I needed to hear tonight. I'm sure a message that many other people needed to hear tonight, other than myself as well. I really appreciate you jumping up here, man. Just sharing your experience over the last couple of years, the growth that you've had, not just as a business person, man, but just as a person, right? So huge salute to you, man. You're wise beyond your years for sure. If there's a lot of people in here tonight, y'all are asking. I see you in the comments, man. Look, one thing about the U is if you show up, we got your back. All right, that's the only thing that we ask, is that you show up. You show up for yourself. We're going to show up for you every single time. On Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, startflippingdeals.com to register. All right, I'm holding a free class. All right, there's nothing for sale at all in the class. I'm just teaching you how to do the process that I taught Daylan as well, to have success that he talked about tonight. I'm going to be breaking down that process on Thursday. There's limited seats. We're doing a couple of giveaways. So you want to make sure that you're there 7 p.m. Eastern sharp. If you're already registered and I texted you about, this live or what, look, I'm going to hit you up. Text tomorrow. I'm going to make sure you got the information to be on the class, the link to join, all of that. Daylan, I appreciate you coming through, man. Much love. Y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, all things, right?
Hey,
All
before you
things.
go, let me say this too.
Please.
I 100% appreciate you for creating this group, but creating this energy that is spread throughout the group and just being you, authentically you. When I being in this group for 4 years, when I hear people speak of like what they appreciate about the group, what they appreciate about you, is always synonymous with authenticity, like realness, of being a genuine person, about someone who's leading by example. And so I want to lift you up and give you praise for that, because I think it's something that isn't common in this world. A lot of people aren't who they say they are, especially in the real estate industry. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of people playing like they are this person, but you are 100% one of the realest people I've ever met and seen. And so I just want to make that known and appreciate you for that, for real.
Hey, bless, bro. Bless. I appreciate the words, man. Hey, I'm just a man trying to get better every day, man. And look, it's been a journey in itself for me. And real estate saved my life a couple of times. And I'm hoping it can do the same for somebody else. We leading from the front, man, just doing the best that we can, man. Shout out to the U family that's in here supporting. Shout out to the U family that's in here, just supporting not me, not Daylan, supporting us, man. That, like you just said, man, that's what I really love about this community that we have. Is I never imagined it being all of this. I just didn't. Like I was dealing with my own pain, at the time that I started this group. I had a really rough 2017, 2018. Was getting my feet back under me, and that was the second time that wholesaling saved my life. And I just wanted to do it for somebody else, man. I just wanted to help other people really know and understand the power of wholesaling and what it could do for you. Starting literally with nothing, man. And what this community has blossomed into is beyond my wildest dreams. But like it's insane. The way that y'all love on each other, the way that y'all big each other up, way that y'all make money, do business together, got personal relationships. It's just dope, man. We're gonna have a huge 2024 as a group, as a community, man. We're gonna be linking up again this year, kicking it out, doing our thing. If you're not in the U, you got to, you better figure out how to get in here, man. That's all I can say, man. Daylan, let's get out of here, my brother. I appreciate you. All right.
Yeah.
Much love. Shout out to the U family as well. I'll see you Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, startflippingdeals.com. Make sure that you're there, man. Peace.
Peace.